Viewers, some of you may recall last night on this very show at this very time, Times Now accessed a secret bomb damage assessment report prepared by the forces that showed that the airstrike was 100% successful. The pictures to the left of your screens, viewers, are from last night's broadcast. Despite that broadcast, some doubters demanded visual confirmation. And that's why, viewers, tonight we are going to show you the visual evidence that will settle the debate once and for all. Now we are going to put out to the left of your screens the visuals of the camp. And Nizam Bhai is also going to pull out the most decisive picture of the Balakot Jaish camp. The close-up view on the right of your screens, viewers. 8 holes are clearly visible on the roof. We're going to stay with the picture, the decisive picture. And there are several others that are visible. That's the decisive picture. That's the picture that we want constantly on screen. Because that picture shows you, viewers, in stark, how much damage was actually done to one of the main buildings in the compound. We're waiting for that picture to come up, and let's hope that we can hold it. Nizam Bhai, can you bring out the most decisive picture with the several damaged buildings? Okay, there it is, the before and after. Let's pull out. That's the one. 8 holes visible on the roof. There you can see it. These have been available through commercial satellite imagery. Now I want to show you some hard facts up front. As always, viewers, we've broken this up. What we told you and what the image now shows. What we told you was that 4 occupied targets were hit by Spice 2000 guided missiles. And what does the image show to the left of your screens? 4 dark spots on the buildings inside the Jaish terror training facility. Number 2, what we told you. Damage was commensurate with GPS, inertial navigation, Spice 2000 missile. That's what we told you yesterday. What the images show, the presence of signature holes in the roof of selected targets, that's very clear. That's a close-up. There are 2 buildings, 1 shed which is right on top, which has the telltale hole right on the top of it. And then there is the larger building, viewers, which we are being told by our sources in the Air Force is very importantly, viewers, the one that housed the maximum number of Jaish terrorists. This was the guest house. And it shows you the presence of signature holes in the roof of the selected targets. We also told you that the guest house with Jaish compound housing terrorists was destroyed. And 2 large blocks of the tented accommodation were missing after the strike. Very clearly visible there, viewers. Yes, clearly visible. Now I'm going to show you one by one the images. Let's pull them out. Here are some structures that are visible before the airstrike. And let's go to, here's the Proof India. Here's the Proof India graphics. Times Now super exclusive. These are commercial satellite images that we have been able to access before the guest house in the Jaish compound, clearly visible. There you can see it, viewers. If Nizam Bhai can just correct these visuals so that the words at the bottom don't get cut off, will be great. There you can see guest house in Jaish compound. There you can see it very clearly. And then it's destroyed, missing, not there. That guest house missing, viewers. Okay, let's look at the second set of images. What do we see? What do we see? Building roof is intact, 4 holes in the building's roof. So all of that very, very clear. Then viewers, we can show you the proof as we've seen them. The first one, the Balakot strike proof, out on your screens. Let's put them out. There you can see it. Black spots on iron sheet roofs of JESH facilities. What it shows, the Spice 2000 entered the structure and exploded inside. Definitive. These are all available now, open source, viewers. If you have influence, you can acquire them. It's not difficult. Let's look at proof 2. Burn marks on the Jabba Top hillside in Balakot. The fuel air explosive warheads fitted with kits of Spice were used. Let's look at proof 3. Let's go very quickly through some of these. The damage visible to the guest house within the Jaish-e-Mohammed compound. Penetration payload delivered at targets identified by intelligence. And viewers, one would have thought that not a shred of doubt would remain after this visual confirmation, especially these pictures that you're seeing to the left of your screens, viewers. This is the most decisive picture, and we're going to keep it on our screens for the most amount of time. That's it. That's the picture that we're going to focus on. But there are still some who continue to doubt and deny. But before I go out to those, I want to speak with Air Marshal P.K. Borbora, former Vice Chief of the Air Staff. Thank you very much. Good evening, sir, for joining me on this broadcast. Yesterday, we had been able to access the bomb damage assessment secret report, which pointed to telltale evidence. Today, we have pictures, open source pictures. Commercial satellites have taken these pictures. You can look at the before and you can look at the after. Now, how difficult would it have been to target these installations, number one, Air Marshal, and number two, what do you make of these pictures, sir?
Well, frankly and honestly speaking, it is hard intelligence that we have to have in respect of the target, by means of, say, coordinates that have to be almost on 8-figure coordinates, which when we insert into the memory of the missile, which will be finally guided by initially the GPS and later inertial navigation system, then by the GPS. So it's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of hard work for our pilots. I can assure you one thing, I've seen them working to go ahead and get the precise location as to where you want to hit. Even if what you are showing is the 4 different areas where in the same building they have struck. Or
yeah,
you see, now each coordinate is different from the other. We have programmed the missile in such a manner that the destruction is not at one point for all Spice missiles to go in. It's at all different points. Now, having done this planning for the execution is something, of course, we have to fly correctly. We have to penetrate the enemy air defense. Of course, we are carrying our own safety systems with us, whether you call it the self-protection jammers and another escort aircraft to look after any kind of an interception that might take place, and a radar coverage to warn us about enemy air movement. But the people who are going to be dropping this load, I'm telling you, it is, I don't know if I could ever do it now. It's impossible. It requires so much of precision that my hats off to all the people who did whatever role they had to play to achieve this destruction that has come out from your television today, which I hope will keep the mouth shut of the people who are doubters in all respect. I hope it shuts them up once and for all. Don't ask for body counts, please. You can go there, count the bodies and tell us how many. If there are bodies left to be counted also. It is very sad that when you doubt the armed forces of India, their loyalty to the nation, you call their chief, the army chief, a gunda, you call the air chief a liar. Please, yaar, which country do you belong to? These people who are voicing these opinions.
Well,
which country?
Well, sir,
I think you were born an Indian. At least be an Indian from your heart.
Well, sir, you have spoken, obviously, as a former airman, a patriot, a person who has led missions and risked his life. So I can understand where you're coming from. And thank you, Air Marshal, for joining me tonight and giving your perspective. So even the Air Marshal has no doubts now that this particular strike was executed to 100% precision. And therefore, I want to ask some of our guests tonight, our panelists, some of whom are eminently qualified and some of whom have a lot to say about this entire issue. Is asking for proof, Mr. Nishant Verma, an unpatriotic act. You've just heard the Air Marshal P.K. Borbora, former Vice Chief of the Air Staff. He's told you what he thinks of these demands.
Thank you. I'm glad Air Marshal Barbara Saab brought up what he brought up. And see, the confusion is further deepening, and I'll tell you why. I'm reading Economic Times right now, which is your sister company, and they are following the routers. The routers have said they got images from Planet Labs, San Francisco, which has a different story to say. What you are showing has a different story to say. We are still not questioning our forces. I would say my forces did a good job by attacking and firing upon the target given by the intelligence. I am sure they have done 100% their job. The question is, where was the target? Air Force doesn't decide the target unless given by the intelligence. So whatever they gave, I'm sure my Air Force would have fired upon and hit the bullseye, doubtless. But having said that, when I am looking at the Economic Times report of Planet Labs, which gives an accuracy of 28 inches in the clarity of images, the question is, who is politicizing it? Somebody says 300, 250 terrorists killed. With a clarity of 28 inches, you don't see a nail there. You don't see a leg or a hand or a face or a half body or a full body. There is where politicization comes into play. So I am very happy, glad Verma, and respecting Reuters, my forces.
Whatever
for what
Reuters does, sir, good luck to them. Why are we putting so much store on what Reuters does, what some foreign media does? You have your own media. You have pictures that have been accessed from open source, and they show you the visual evidence. No one is photoshopping this. Even you can now access this. I'm sure. I'm sure, sir, that this has become now public. So Nishant Verma, this constant challenging of the narrative
I am not
to
questioning
perhaps
your source.
Are you doing this because there is a political motive that you are trying to serve here?
Please understand, Rahul. Please understand.
No, why
Rahul,
are you constantly raking up?
One minute.
No, this media, that media.
Allow me
Sir,
to complete my
the
statement.
proof is there.
If you'll allow me to please allow me to complete my statement, then ask me 10 questions. I am neither questioning your source or their source, because their source is coming in your sister company of Economic Times. The point is not about where forces and how they attacked. They did a perfect job. I am saying it again and again.
But they missed the
mark.
mark.
The 300 bodies
no, you are saying,
by the
you are saying no, they did. They hit.
Where are the 250 bodies?
You are saying they did not hit the targets.
Bodies claimed by Mr. Amit Shah, the BJP president, because my government is not saying any numbers.
No, but the government can't.
Who is politicizing it?
The government can't give you a number, sir.
The BJP to give a number, all the channels to flash out, and we keep quiet. We are not talking to the government here.
No, 1 minute.
We are neither questioning the government,
sir.
We are neither questioning the forces.
So, 1 second. I respect your point of view totally, but I don't respect the premise on which it is founded. You began by saying there is confusion. Reuters is putting out something. which your sister agency, Economic Times, is carrying.
Of course.
And you're putting out something. Who do we believe?
Why
Sir,
not?
I'm
That's
sure
the
you're going to
confusion.
believe.
Under the umbrella,
Sir, 1 minute.
under your
After
company
a particular
umbrella, whom
point
do I
in
believe?
time, sir,
Under
I'm sure.
your company of umbrella, whom?
What has your Air
does
Force
India
told
believe?
you?
Please tell me.
Okay,
this.
let me bring in
Please
General
tell me
Mehta.
this.
General Mehta,
I
I
am
want
a
to ask
viewer-
you.
I am a
Your
viewer
1 minute. Your Air Force, not once but twice. Nishant Verma, 1 minute, sir, please. I don't want to now lower the faders on anyone. So please, let's just be a little more. This is a sensitive issue, sir. So let me bring in General Mehta. General Mehta, not once but twice. Very senior Air Force officers, including the chief and his deputy, have come out. And they have said that, look, we hit our mark. We did what we had to do. We can't give you an estimate of the body count. But there are still voices. And again today, this morning, even after the broadcast here by Times Now yesterday and this morning, we've had people who've come out and said, no, we still want proof. We still want the government to put out the proof. What is making, I'm sorry to use the word, the doubters so skeptical about the credibility of these reports? I can't understand it.
Marshal Barbara is a dear old friend, and he is one of the most experienced fighter pilots of the Air Force. On your program, he has explained to us the complexities of synchronizing the 8-figure coordinates into the missiles, and then how the pilots have to dexterously ensure that they go on the target. And he has not only authenticated but validated this.
Yes.
And has
so in your mind, your mind, is there any doubt left?
In my mind, not only has the Air Chief said, what has the Air Chief said? We were asked to destroy certain targets,
and we achieved our mission.
And we have achieved that.
That's right.
This has been said in the press briefing.
So are you now satisfied after what we...
I am absolutely satisfied.
You're satisfied.
But,
what is the but?
But now the government, you can't let this confusion. You see, there are two things. One is the damage to the structures. There's zero doubt on that. This question of numbers of dead.
Do the numbers matter?
No, they don't. But it has become a political football, and it was initiated by the ruling party, unfortunately.
Sir, 1 second. You're saying that you have now no doubt that the Air Force...
no doubt.
Okay,
1 minute.
we have no doubt.
We have no doubt.
So then will you then accept
1 minute.
that the free hand that has been given by the government to the forces has resulted in the damage, A, that we have seen, B, most importantly, putting Pakistan now on the back foot? Will you accept this, sir?
Doubtlessly.
Doubtless.
What I am
so that is an army man. Mr. Nishant Verma, you heard it, an army man's assessment.
If I may just
now let me ask the question.
Just one little thing. If I may add, if you see,
but your question was not okay.
The ultimate
the question is not whether the government gives a free hand to my military or not. Especially on the LOC.
Ultimate authentication must come from the government of India, says General Mehta. He is still waiting for the government to come out and put out the proof. So I'm asking you, therefore, Nalin Kohli, if this material is open source, if it's been accessed by Times Now...
Are you trying to say that the government was handcuffing the military earlier?
1 second, sir, 1 second. I want to bring in Nalin Mehta. Nalin Kohli. Nalin Kohli, BJP spokesperson. We now know very, very clearly that these images exist. Open source images. Times Now has been able to access them through its contacts, of which there are many. So why don't you validate, sir? Why don't you validate this by releasing now the pictures?
Mr. Rahul Shiv Shankar, first my compliments for the inputs that you have put across on the media. I have a few things to say, and I'll answer your question also part of that. We have I have a feedback coming, so just ask your panel also to cut down the feedback which I'm receiving back in my ear. So coming to the issue here, we have established something extremely important with this act that has taken place by our Air Force. We have told unequivocally, unambiguously, in clear and military terms to Pakistan that we have targeted a non-military, non-civilian target based on actionable, credible intelligence inputs, and to hit back to those who are constantly waging a war against Indian citizens and Indian army or security force personnel, terrorists. That's the clear message. It's never happened in the manner of crossing the line of control and then sending precision bombs to eliminate a training facility, and obviously there are casualties there. It's a huge thing. The world has taken note of it. Pakistan had to scramble its jets to come into Indian territory to retaliate,
Mr. Kohli,
which was successfully
Mr. Kohli, we are again repeating the same thing again and again. There is a very important word used here, was credibility.
I didn't interrupt anyone.
Sir, but we have to interrupt you because we are diverting from the question.
One minute, gentlemen, let him finish. He's making his second point, let him finish.
No, Rahul, decide who's running the program.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, the second part to it is the political part. Pakistan has a stake in denying the existence of terrorism, pretending they don't exist, there are no training facilities, lying to their teeth. We've seen it with Osama bin Laden, we've seen it with the LET, the Jaish-e-Mohammed, with everyone.
Expose them then.
They have a stake in it. India has a stake in exposing Pakistan, which is what diplomatically and now through this military action, in a sense, against a terrorist camp, is clearly being done. India, now what's this, with this strange situation, we have this hypocritical situation, that the doubters are actually now helping Pakistan build a case against India.
Okay,
actually you are helping Pakistan.
Actually,
the Minister party is helping Pakistan.
Let him finish.
Congress and others are, let me finish, I'm not uncomfortable for those who support the opposition parties. But I must finish my point, Mr. Ashutosh.
Okay, get to your point quickly.
Help me.
Get to the point. You're saying that they're helping Pakistan.
Yes. So, Qureshi, what is he saying? Yes, he is quoting the Indian political sources opposed to the government to build a case against India when Pakistan is painted into a corner.
So let me ask the question. No, 1 minute. So let's
BJP.
So 1 second. Let's in 1 minute, sir. Please allow me to ask Mr. Kohli. Mr. Kohli, then the best way to kill and expose the so-called enemy within that you are railing against today.
Yes.
The people that you say are helping Pakistan is by putting out the pictures.
Absolutely.
Just put them out.
Absolutely.
Put them out on Doordarshan. Put them out in an advertisement in the newspaper.
To answer this.
Give them to us. We'll do a great job of putting them out.
Why should it be done in that way? India and India's security and strategic issues will be revealed when they have to. The details of the surgical strike came a year later.
They will be relieved.
When it was felt correct that they would release it.
Okay,
why is it to be done to have a few people who are more interested? And my political
so let me ask you. No, 1 second, Mr. Ashutosh. I want to ask you. Okay, 1 second.
Indian
Mr. Kohli, hold fire. I want to ask you simply this question. Before I bring in Colonel RSN and I bring in the sagacity of Maruf Raza. 1 minute. I want to ask you, Mr. Ashutosh, since you've been itching to have a go on the show, I want to ask you simply this. Simply this. The government knows when it needs to release these images, to which audience. It is still playing out an active, very, very escalated conflict. It is yet to expose Pakistan before the UNSC. We know that that diplomatic game has not played out. Do you think it wouldn't be better served in India's interest if we put out the material in the right fora, rather than to quash the Vermas of the world and, you know, the Mishras of the world and the Congress parties of the world and the TMCs of the world? I don't understand.
That has to be done.
Yeah, tell me, sir, to satisfy your intellectual curiosity.
Because the credibility of the
your voyeuristic
habitual
curiosity.
liars of BJP is being questioned.
No, sir.
As
these
simple
visuals,
as that.
These visuals.
As simple as that.
So
Nobody
then tell
has
me
questioned
something,
the
sir.
airstrike, as General Saab very
How can you
rightly pointed
distinguish
out,
between the
nobody
airstrike?
has questioned
How
the
can you say
airstrike.
that the airstrike
Because
happens, but the BJP is lying?
one Mr. Modi has been telling the world that he has given a free hand to Air Force and Army.
Isn't that quite?
Why was the
isn't that
hand
quite
tied
obvious?
for 4.5 years?
Isn't
Why
that-
was he allowing our Jawans to be killed?
But there was a surgical strike. No, there was a
PGP
surgical strike 2 years
Kashmir.
ago.
Do
And
we
there have
forget
been
that?
several strikes.
Did that lead to fewer Jawans being
Ashutosh, can
killed?
I ask you a question, sir,
The
please?
Chowkidar was sleeping. The people were leaving our shores like
Mr. Mishra,
Malaya
can I
and
ask you a small
Nirav
question?
Modi.
Can I
And
ask
the
you a small
terrorists were
question?
coming in. And now when our
Okay,
Air
we don't
Force has
take
stuck.
questions. We don't take
because
questions.
you
Mr.
have to
Mishra
listen
is
to the
one
answer
way.
first. When IFS
You
is
told
stuck,
me the
why
answer.
is trying to take credit for something which in Air Force has done? And why is the his
Can I come in and let me bring in Maru Praza and let me bring in Colonel RSN. Okay. Let me ask them. Maru Praza, to you first. Colonel RSN, let me first bring you in actually. Let me first bring in Colonel RSN. Colonel RSN, the question that repeatedly they come out to is not that we don't trust our forces. We are today, they claim, very upset by the fact that this government is taking credit, snatching credit from the forces. What were they doing all this time? They haven't done a good job in protecting our interests. How would you respond to that? Colonel RSN.
No, if they say that a tree has been uprooted, then they are not doing any glorification of the Indian Air Force. But let me tell you one thing, this business of counting bodies. Look, Maulana Yusuf Azhar, the brother-in-law of Maulana Masood Azhar, has been killed. This is a fact that cannot be concealed, right? He was the so-called, commandant. Maruf will understand, you will understand. General Mehta will understand. He was so-called commandant of that so-called academy or that that training facility. Now he has been killed. Now apply your mind. Would he have been alone there, or the commandant will have some staff, some people around him, or was he flying kite at night on the rooftop of that academy, or doing some sending out some romantic signals to some girlfriend somewhere? What was he doing? So logic says that if the commandant was killed, others would have been killed with him. This is a fact you cannot hide. The second part is there has been frantic activity, and it by your newspaper, and I don't know how many people have analyzed it. There is a frantic activity on in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and FATA. The sector commanders in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa have just 2 days after the strike, they have reached out, in panic to the tribal leaders, oblique the Maulana that area, pleading them to call for their Loya Jirgas. Now Loya Jirgas, if doesn't understand, like our panchayats, right? So in those Loya Jirgas, a feverish appeal has been made that please support us in our against India. Please form militias on the lines of 1947.
Right.
Now, Mr. Mishra, these are the areas. 1 minute. You are not comfortable with facts and assessment. If you want me to shout, I'll shout. But I'm telling you that the fact of the matter is that who are these people? They have all turned anti-Pakistan due to Zarb-e Azm and the operations. अब देखिए ये he takes pride in his Air Force.
Okay.
Your inputs given to Air Force were wrong. Although they fired the right place, the targets were given. But your terrorists are elsewhere, that means.
Colonel Sahab, get to the point. 1 minute. Colonel, they're going to try and disrupt. No, 1 second. Ashutosh, let him speak. He never interrupted you. He waited his turn. He waited his turn. I'll give you an opportunity to rebut, sir. Please, we're not running away. Let him, please. Let him.
No, you call these people to torture us. You call these people to torture patriots like us.
Sir, we are as much patriots as you are. We
Let's not get into this name calling. 1 minute, gentlemen, please. I want to bring in Maru Praza. Maru, Consulting Editor, Times Now. I want to ask you.
Please
There is a baseline question. One second, sir. There's a baseline question. There's a baseline question that I want to ask you, Maruf Raza. Okay, relax. There is a baseline question that I want to ask Maruf Raza.
Yeah.
Does the reliance on spin in the foreign media, Maruf Raza, show a lack of trust in our own forces and their ability? What does it tell you?
See, Rahul, other than all the very detailed assessments that Air Marshal Barbara and General Mehta, Colonel RSN, everyone has brought out, I will stick to the strategic points. The first thing is to understand that our services don't have an axe to grind in the political equation of the country. They do their job, they follow the constitutionally elected government, they follow orders, they execute it, and they have a reputation for professionalism and precision which very few other militaries in the world can match. You saw the strikes, the so-called surgical strikes 2 years ago, remarkable. You saw these air strikes, again remarkable. Now, the technicalities has been explained by Air Marshal Barbara. I only want to say that these Mirage aircrafts were used with 98% efficacy during the Kargil conflict.
Right.
They are now the upgraded version, which means they are 2-3 times better than what was used in the Kargil conflict. These Spice missiles are known to hit pinpointed targets up to 60 kilometers from the point they fired. And therefore, they don't go and blow up a whole building. They just make a hole in a building where their specific coordinates lead them to. These are all programmed, like we all know of the Tomahawk and we know of all the other cruise missiles. They are all programmed. So this is a form of a cruise missile from air. The third thing is that the Pakistan military has built up very mythical images of itself as the guardians of not just the physical state, but also the ideological frontiers of Pakistan. So when this myth is bust once in a while, like the raid against Osama bin Laden and now this, they will put in a lot of spin. They have a huge investment.
And let's not believe that spin,
spin
because it shows
abroad.
monumental disrespect to our forces.
Rahul,
that's what Maruf Raza is going to tell us.
Let me please complete, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, let me complete. They also have a huge investment in creating an image abroad which contradicts the Indian image, because otherwise unka khana pina band ho jayega. They live off the Pakistani state on the fear that they can pretend and protect against India. This has been exposed. So whether we give credit or not for anything else, I would like to give the current political dispensation the credit for passing that strategic barrier and allowing our forces to be able to target terror camps or whatever else in
Isn't
Pakistan
that important, General?
now and in future.
It is. So please tell that to Mr. Nishant Verma and Ashutosh Mishra.
I would take you back, Maruf.
One second.
That is again, I am not going into head counts, but I would like to trust our services, because unlike the Pakistan army, which did not even own up to its own dead soldiers in Kargil, unlike the Pakistan army which bumbled and lied after the Osama bin Laden raid, unlike the Pakistan army which said Kasab is not their citizen, give me one example of our services who have lied in public and misled the country.
We can MiG-21 Bison.
Listen,
today the government was whining. Mr. Modi is trying to sell Rafale.
Let's not debate about Rafale.
How will we fight F-16 and MiG-21 Bison? That's the bravery of our Air Force.
Please answer my question. Please answer my question. Have the Indian services, have the Indian armed forces ever lied in a public statement to the country? Have the armed forces ever lied to this country?
And that's why we
so why are you doubting their assessment that they claim now?
We don't trust the politicians who want to take credit and
but he's already told you
the opposition and speak
the credit must go to a government that has acted decisively. 1 minute, sir. He's telling you that, and this is not my assessment. This is Maruf Raza, one of the most respected strategic affairs analysts. He speaks in all the forums internationally before audiences, and he says credit must go where it's due. Is it true? The government deserves credit for taking a decision like this.
And it takes the blame for having
1 minute. Let him speak. Let him speak. Let people who know something about the military speak.
I think there is no doubt in anybody's mind on the credibility, verifiable credibility of the efficacy of these strikes.
Okay.
Even Rashid Khan,
okay,
the railway minister of Pakistan,
we were
on this program,
yes,
said the day after the strike कि मौलाना जी से पूछिए कि वो मदरसा ना होने के बराबर है. He said that, which means even the Pakistani minister who was bringing firestone has admitted. But the question again arises, why does the government delay putting out this
official photographs?
Official photograph. What are they waiting for?
General sir, it should never be put out in public domain.
The politicization, it will
sir, you
scotch the
Colonel Harrison wants to respond to you.
Of the forces, and it will stop all the speculation about 200, 300,
General sir, in all the combat that you did in your service career, did you photograph every action of yours, sir?
I haven't understood.
Sir, do you have photographic evidence of assault, the final assault in Kargil, sir? One famous journalist, she was only reporting from the base, sir.
No, but no, I don't. I don't see what the comparison is between Kargil and Balakot. Kargil we were operating.
I don't expect this from you, sir.
RSN.
Sir, please, sir. Don't.
क्या बात कर रहे हो?
जी सर, बोलिए सर.
Where is the comparison? Where is the
sir,
comparison?
our own Rimkolian chief
you have all this evidence.
Our own Rimkolian
chief have painstakingly.
One minute, just 1 minute, gentlemen, 1 second.
And scotch all this rumor mongering.
1 second. Let me come in here. Let me come in here. I want to bring in once again Maruf on this point before we move on. Maruf, look, I want to ask you. There is so much debate about officially releasing stamped material with the endorsement of the forces in the public domain to satisfy the, I presume, intellectual curiosity or perhaps the intellectual perversity of some of those who believe that these strikes, we need to know how many body bags left this Balakot, what have you. So, where do you stand on this, Maruf Raza? Is it now incumbent upon the government to do this? Or do you think the government should not warmonger by releasing these photographs? Simple question.
Rahul, now it is well known across the world that India did carry out the strikes. And even if we admit or not admit, various other international satellites have picked up that information. I know for a fact, I've seen it with my own eyes 2 decades or more ago, that American satellites are so accurate that they can pick up each bunker on the Siachen Glacier. So I think 2 decades or more later, they have reached a far more higher level of precision, which was what was the motivating factor for Obama's drone diplomacy, as you called, because they could identify each individual. So those pictures will be available. India cannot perpetuate a lie. We have no vested interest, at least for the military, to perpetuate a lie. That's the first thing. The second thing is, and Air Marshal Barbora and General Mehta and Colonel RSN will bear me out, that how the military works. Before it puts out any detailed report to the government, these are checked, cross-checked, authenticated, and then the signatures of senior officers on the chain are on the line, because they cannot put up a report which will be one mistake and your career is gone. You cannot put up a wrong report. So this must be authenticated at various levels. Air photography assessment units take time to put air photographs together and match it with previous photographs and get a full analysis made. It doesn't happen in 1 or 2 or 6 or 12 hours.
Nishant Verma, what is also, and what must also be noted, Nishant Verma,
please understand,
is that even if you were to put out the photographs, you can't count the bodies. It's pretty evident. So what you're trying to get at, I don't know, Rahul, you're probably in your haste to try and even out the political scales, seeking body count reports, etc. It's not going to happen.
I would just like to make one point
by putting
here,
out,
Rahul,
by putting out this, 1 second, sir. We will none be wiser.
Make one point here.
Sure, tell me. Tell me, sir. Tell me. We are all ears.
I just want to make one simple point, not going into the technicality, because we don't question our forces, and I respect Maruf Saab, nothing like him, the best defense analyst. But here is a question, the photographs you have, please send it to Nalin Kohli, show it to him and ask, क्या अमित कोहली को 250, अमित शाह को 250 कहां से मिले? दिख रहे हैं? Because there is where BJP politicizes, nobody is questioning my forces.
Okay.
Nobody.
Nalin Kohli, no one is questioning the forces, they are questioning the assessments that you are making, which are making, which are drawing the Air Force into...
अगर dead bodies नहीं दिखा पाए.
Okay, 1 minute. So let me ask, Nalin Kohli, the question is now back at your door. Don't put numbers, don't try to drop political mileage. You can tomorrow go out there and rightfully claim that you set a new benchmark in responding to Pakistan.
Mr. Kohli should condemn his party president
but
one second,
Nishant, 1 second. I'm asking the question. Either you let me ask the question, or why don't you ask it? Why don't you ask the question then? Ask the question. Okay.
Mr. Nalin Kohli, will you condemn Mr. Amit Shah, your party president, for coming out with some number like 250? Forget about your spokespersons. Mr. Party President says 250, Government of India does not, and the photographs that Times Now is showing, which you were praising, where are the dead bodies?
Sir, अगर कोई 2,500 बोले तो भी आपको खुश होना चाहिए.
Let him respond.
But he won't be there.
Let him respond.
5,000 पे भी नहीं, 5 पे भी खुश हो जाऊंगा.
No, I'm going to pick up. There we go again.
Okay, Mr. Kohli, respond.
May I?
Why are you so keen on putting a number?
Number one, if you don't produce, no, 1 minute, if you don't produce the body bags, then what will happen? That is what Mr. Nishant Verma is saying. That, with all due respect, is what the Jaish-e-Mohammed would like to put out. That there are no body bags. And if anyone is so keen among these political analysts and politicians, someone today said it and it was reported in the media, catch a bus, take a flight, take a visa, go there and stand there. The third point is about numbers. I've got interrupted. You know, this new trade has started on television called political analysts. People, how they become political analysts, what is their qualification,
yes, of course,
how do they arrive at what kind of analysis that they put out. I mean, this is a new trade. It's a creation of being on panel.
Stick to the facts, sir. Let's not get personal. Mr. Kohli, don't get personal. He has credentials. He has arguments. He represents a particular point of view. You need to respond.
And I'm being disturbed. I've had the patience and the decency to listen to this.
But no low blows.
I'm sorry.
Don't question his credentials.
This gentleman has a habit to do it all the time.
By you.
So, no, I will question his credentials because he's questioning my party president.
You have a habit of
he's questioning the Prime Minister. He questions the army and treats it as my
so
army.
People have a right to question the Prime Minister in this country. People also have a right to question the BJP president. That's not the issue. And that can't be your response. We are not about question the elected officials. No, 1 minute.
Everybody on this panel has
Nishant Verma, 1 second, please. 1 minute. See, Nalin Kohli, let's get over one illusion. Perhaps you have this illusion because you're a very loyal party worker, but let's get over one illusion. People have the right to question the elected representatives. Amit Shah is the president of the BJP. If he's making an assessment, 250 dead, and others in the party are adding to those assessments, they need to also come out and explain on what basis are they doing so. And I think you owe that to the people of this country. We've got beyond the stage where we are now looking for proof whether it happened or it didn't. It is completely now absolutely undeniable that we've struck those camps. I want to come to point 2, which is very important today.
And that's the most important point.
Well, sir, you're not making that the most important point. Your leadership is making the body count the important point.
I am making it, they are not.
Okay, why are you making the body count, sir, such an important point?
And I will argue that.
Tell me, is Amit Shah wrong to have estimated?
It's made by those doubters who are constantly questioning everything.
No, why is he today?
NTRO figure has come out.
What NTRO
You had
figure?
other people on your panel. I'll answer the question, Rahul. Let me finish.
Okay.
Let me finish. It came out 2 days ago, 300 mobile phones have gone dead. Rajnath ji as the Home Minister has pointed and spoken about it. Whatever is to be. But look at the doubters, and why shouldn't we feel an angst about it? to score their political points to be quoted and used by Pakistan against India's interests, it makes my blood boil. Of course, Article 19 is there, freedom of speech, expression, but there's also a reasonable restriction on that. Read Article 19 too.
By trying to
and where does Article 19 allow them to be rude and
let him finish? Let him finish. Let him finish. He says NTRO data shows that 300 telephones went dead.
Let the government make that contention.
Okay, so the question to you,
the
question to you, Mr. Kohli, is...
Maruf raised a very important point as a strategic thing, and Maruf may probably want to educate others, because obviously non-military people don't know this, that this is a precision missile. It goes in, makes a hole, doesn't explode. What happens thereafter? He would be able to tell you as a strategic expert what is the damage that such a precision missile does after it penetrates.
Okay, we've gone over that. We've gone over that. The strikes are not, sir, the strikes are not in doubt. Mr. Rajagopalan, the question that I want to ask you is very simply this. Should the BJP be putting a number to try and amplify the achievement? Is it even necessary?
It is for the government to decide, not the BJP.
It's not
right, for the Chief of Army Staff, Naval Staff, and also the General Mehta is sitting with me. He has been
so the Air Force has come out and
said... It is for
said,
Army's decision, not government. And second thing, Ashutosh Mishra is totally wrong, because he has one agenda, anti-Modi agenda. He has to speak only against Modi.
Sir,
and Nishant Verma, what does he know? What does he know? What does Mr. Ashutosh Mishra know? What does Ashutosh Mishra know about the army? He has been there for 7 years. He does not know. His one agenda is anti-Modi. No strike, no strike. And boycott did not happen. Boycott did not happen. They have one dream. They have only dream and do Bhajan Mandali for Rahul Gandhi. That's all. Simple as that. Mr. Ashutosh Mishra and Nishant Verma have one agenda, simple agenda. That agenda is to derail Modi, to derail government. Nothing happened. Everything is happening only with them.
Yeah, because Mr. Modi was handling Kashmir, he ruined Kashmir.
Ashutosh Mishra, what do you know about Kashmir? What do you know about Kashmir? You do not know anything.
Kashmir was
you do not know anything.
Which has been turned into Jahannam because BJP was fiddling and while Kashmir was burning.
What did Rahul Gandhi do? What did Rahul Gandhi do?
Listen.
What did Indira Gandhi do?
I think you're right.
70 years.
Mr. Rajagopalan is right. No, 1 second.
You spoiled it.
That's what you are afraid of.
Okay. Colonel RSN coming in. Gentlemen, please. Gentlemen, please. Okay, 1 second. Gentlemen, please. 1 second. Look. Ashutosh Mishra. 1 minute, sir. 1 second, please, sir, please. You see, Mr. Mishra, maybe you have a very short memory. I don't think anyone can today lay the blame of whatever has happened in Kashmir at the doorstep of one government. Let's also not forget that there have been elected chief ministers who have governed that state for years altogether.
We are not asking anything.
So 1 second. So Ashutosh Mishra. So let's not do. So please, let's not do so much. Let's not do so much damage to the national narrative that this debate gets picked up in the Pakistani media and you become stars in Pakistan. So let's not do that. I am not trying to suggest. I am not trying to suggest. 1 minute. I am not trying to suggest, sir, and I've defended your right to ask questions. But for God's sakes, let's elevate the debate.
You can question Narendra Modi.
1 minute. Mr. Razak. Colonel RSN. 1 minute, gentlemen, please. Gentlemen, please. Okay. 1 minute, sir, please. 1 second. Colonel RSN coming in. On this debate. Gentlemen, please. Don't make me shout, sir. I'm tired of this. Night after night. Please, I'm sure you're also. Colonel RSN, this body count is becoming a contentious issue.
It should not. Let me tell you that different things are important to different constituencies. If you ask me the biggest achievement, I will say that they have got they struck Balakot, which is just 120 kilometers from the capital, Islamabad. It is just 3 or 4 minutes of flying time. Just imagine Meerut being struck. What will be the jitters here in Delhi? So for me, this is the biggest achievement. For others, That we have struck in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and not POK, that may be an achievement. For others, they also want to know, because look, we lost 45 CRPF soldiers. So people are interested.
Okay.
How many people have lost? How many of these are killed?
Okay, 1 second.
How do you?
Congress supporters were asking.
1 second. Colonel Arisan, I think Colonel Arisan has made a good point. I think he's made a fairly robust point. He says that the more numbers we speculate and the greater the death toll that we try to suggest will only sow the seeds of doubt in Pakistan at a time when the Pakistani narrative is the strikes were a failure and there have been no deaths. So viewers, you make up your mind. Yes, I don't believe that unqualified statements should be made because they also have consequences. So the BJP must back its statements with easily verifiable facts, just like Times Now's news reports are easily verifiable. There's a sanctity to them. You need to also come out if you're if you're making claims about body counts, come out. I have to wrap up the show. A quick recap, viewers. What we're going to show you on your screens is evidence that we've hit 4 occupied targets were hit by Spice 2000 guided missiles. The images show 4 dark spots on the buildings inside the Jaish compound. That's clear as day. What we told you, damage commensurate with GPS, inertial navigation, Spice 2000 missiles. What the images show, presence of signature holes in the roof of selected targets. It's there. We told you this yesterday. Guest house with Jaish compound housing terrorists destroyed. What the image shows, 2 large blocks of tented accommodation missing after the strike. Viewers, there is no doubt now in the minds of those who are looking at these pictures, and we've had several analysts, and you can see the before and the after, that untold, uncalculable damage has been done to the Jaish facility. The question now remains is to why Pakistan is continually spinning a narrative when we, their neighbor, is doing them the greatest favor, which is getting rid of their vipers. And I have to ask you, viewers, tonight, that the time has come that we leave the rancor behind at home. We give credit where it's due and we focus our attentions on making Pakistan accountable for A, the lies, and most importantly, viewers, most importantly, for not doing enough to bring to account those that maim and murder not just our braves but our citizens. So let this be a watershed moment in this entire narrative. These pictures should seal the debate. I do hope at some point the government, whether it's an international fora or Pakistan or the SAARC countries, bring out the proof which they have access to so that Pakistan feels the global heat. There is a great opportunity and it's coming up in the United Nations Security Council, viewers, where the United Nations Security Council, on a move made by the French, will be deciding on extending sanctions to one individual, Masood Azhar. Of course, the jury is still out on whether he's alive or whether he was part of the debris, the collateral in this particular strike. I'll leave it at that. The news are coming up. Stay with us. Don't go away.